20 volts in, but only 4 volts allowed. One wrong move, and this Lume Cube portable LED light is toast. The charging circuit is dead, so I'm bypassing the battery to build a permanent plug-in studio light. My first attempt with the buck converter ran dangerously hot, so I'm pushing it past spec to a 5-volt USB-C wall wart. Will it hold, or did I just make a $200 paperweight? Let's find out. All right, guys, today I'm going to be doing part 2 of this Lume Cube Pro. If you recall, the BMS in the battery cuts off at like 3.2 volts. However, this is the USB-C charge circuit here. There's no power making it to charge the circuit. But if I charge the battery externally and then run it, the Lume Cube Pro will work. And the Lume Cube Pro is just a light source for photography and videos like this. So if you recall, it's just an array of LEDs. They do color and white light, different temperatures of white light. So my goal is to remove this battery and power it the best I can. However, I don't have a wall wart that's rated for 3.8, maybe 4.2 volts. And that's a problem, because if I put 5 volts into the circuit, I'm going to replace the battery with just a wall wart. I put 5 volts into here. There's a good chance I'll destroy any remaining pieces of the circuit. So what we know is the charge doesn't work. No idea how to fix it. Not going into that mode. I can jump start the battery to start the BMS, which will run the unit. However, you still can't charge it, so it's kind of a real pain. So let's see what I have to work with today. So tools on the workbench are my handy power supply. We're going to take some current measurements and validate my assumptions. We got my Fluke multimeter, my Weller soldering station for desoldering these, just some various tips, solder wick, solder suction device, flux, no lead solder, lead solder. And I happen to have this 5-pack of these buck converters. And a buck converter is just like a switching power supply that will, look how poorly manufactured that is. I have complete faith. But that's the set screw to set the voltage. So you come in with a voltage and then you leave with another voltage. So we'll probably be getting to that in part 2. And maybe we can use this as a power supply. It really depends on how much current it takes to run this whole thing. And then I can use like an old laptop power supply, put it through this buck converter, power my Lume Cube Pro. And that would be really exciting. But again, it really depends on how much current I need to supply it, because this buck converter I think is rated for maybe 2 amps, maybe 3 amps, but it doesn't have a heat sink. So even at 80% efficiency, 90%, this thing's going to get scorching hot. So we'll have to see. Might need a different type of converter, but for right now, that's what we're going to use. So that's what we're supplied with. We're going to get rid of this battery, replace it with this buck converter here. That's the theory, to power this device as a full-time on device, and then we'll connect it into a laptop power supply. Before we do that, we should be able to take most all of our measurements for current and voltage with this benchtop power supply, which is pretty awesome. I had a bunch of people ask me where to get this. It doesn't appear to be for sale anymore. I will link to 2 other versions of this power supply, but I haven't tested them personally, so just, buyer beware. First step today is going to remove the 2 battery leads in preparation for taking the battery out. There's nothing wrong with this battery. It just happens to be the charge circuit, so that's just the way it goes. If you remember one of my other videos, I had my really long tip in there, so I had to crank the temperature up a little bit higher than I would like. But now that I got the normal size tip on my soldering iron, we'll crank it up to about 750 Fahrenheit. I'm operating in the US, so my brain has never gotten adjusted to the rational system. So yeah, it's just really simple here. I'm just going to put a little bit of heat on here. Pull both leads off. Got to remember that the lead over here is positive, so I'll mark that as soon as I get this lead off somehow. I'll just use that capacitor there. And then we'll see how this battery is adhered on here. Looks like it's glued. Probably just double stick tape. Of course, we'll use a metal pry tool to take the battery out, so probably not the smartest move, but here we are. All right, yeah, just a couple pieces of double stick tape. That's great. Just out of giggles, let's just see what if there's any voltage on here. Yeah, no voltage. The BMS kicked it off. We could jump start the battery and make those live again, but that was the other video. So we just know I got a good battery, put that aside. Maybe I'll find a use for it someday, don't know. It's nice the BMS is kicked in because you can't short it out. All right, so take these leads here and just use these to create temporary test leads. So today will really be about testing. So I'm just going to use these two jumper leads here, strip them off. I'll solder them in place just to get me access to those two terminals. Bring in a little bit of the leaded solder. Brown will be minus. Yeah, that is definitely lead-free solder. It does not want to melt, nothing like this. Good oak. Just being a little lazy too. We're just tacking it in here. This is only for testing purposes. I can see that solder joint. If you look really careful, these are gnarly looking solder joints. That one's probably even cold, but it's good enough for what we're doing here right now. So, all right, so the first question here is, with the battery removed, can we run the Lume Cube Pro? I know if I charge this battery manually, I can run the Lume Cube off it. So honestly, I don't think there's any reason we can't. All right, I'll turn that light off just so you can see the meter here a little better. But the second question we want to answer is, when it's running on maximum settings, how much current, when we use the power supply to tell us that, is it using at, let's say, 4.2 volts. So we'll just go ahead and crank that up to 4.2 volts or so. And we'll put the power supply on it. I'm going to put the current limiter. There is a fine and coarse adjustment. So we're going to take the coarse and turn it way down. So if you look really carefully, I'm clipped on, positive, negative, and I'm going to use a non-conductive pointer here, a less conductive pointer. You can see it's already kind of clicked in. And if you look over here, we're drawing about 100 milliamps at 4.2 volts, and we haven't even turned the light on. So let's go ahead and see if we can turn that light on. Okay, look, it's working. That's great. So we are drawing 1.23 amps at this power level setting of 70%. So let's go ahead. Now, one thing I did notice was when I first turned it on and I was cranking up the current settings, that it would keep clicking off until I gave it a lot of current. So there is some sort of inrush current coming on. Inrush being, right when you turn it on, it sucks in a whole lot. So it might need a capacitor across the output here as well, just to kind of help smooth that out a little bit. But we'll find out as we go. So let's go through the display here, and we're going to crank that up. So yeah, at 100%, 3000K, it draws 1.9 amps, give or take, 1.8. We've seen different numbers. And then when I'm on the white color temperature, which you can see is whiter, 5700K for the color temperature, 1.85. So pretty consistent across those. So let's see if things change when I change the colors. So here's a red. So red output is 0.8 or 885 milliamps, 0.84. So a lot less at 100%. So that's great. So let's just cycle through some colors here. Quick test. Just go quick. So that's kind of a purple, 1.4 amps. All right, so yeah, so less than 2 amps, 1.9 amps, we can power this thing with. So fantastic news. We'll turn it off. The next step will be to wire this buck converter in with an input. I'll put it at like 20 volts, and we'll just see how much current that draws. And then we'll look at the output here too. So I don't have an oscilloscope, so I'm not going to be able to tell you how clean or dirty this is. So one problem at a time though. So let's go ahead and start with buck converter land. And what a buck converter is literally just a little power supply, switching power supply. And this is the actual chip that does most of it. Not sure what that is, but they label them. This is an LM2596 DC to DC. So what this means is that this is the chip, which is an LM2596. With sufficient heatsink, you can make the specs. But if they just produce the spec of what the chip is without a heatsink on here, probably fry it. All right, so we're maxing out at about 1.8 amps. Looking on my phone here, it says it's up to 3 amps of current. But again, you know, there's a picture of almost the exact same thing here. But the problem with that is that, again, if you don't have the heatsink on here, you're not going to get a full 3 amps out of it. It'll kind of die on its own. But we're only going to push it to 1.9 at the maximum side. So let's just give it a shot, see what happens. And we're going to simulate some sort of laptop power supply going into this unit. And then we're going to wire it onto that unit, and we're going to measure everything. So with a buck converter, there are losses. There's a voltage drop that occurs. So I think 1 to 2 volts. So whatever you power it with has to be 1 to 2 volts higher than the output. And then the other piece of this power supply is there's an efficiency loss. So if you put, I'm going to make a number up. This is not a real number, okay? But if you put 10 watts in, you'll only get about 8 watts of power out. And the other 2 watts have to be dissipated by the circuitry. So that's what I'm talking about when we're talking about a heatsink. Nice board here, so I'm just going to clip onto it right here. I'm going to clip onto it right here. So the other thing is it has this trim pot on it, and that's actually what you set the output voltage to be. Yeah, when I first saw this, and I saw this build quality being so absolutely poor here, I mean, I'm not making that twist up in there. I thought these were a bad batch, but it turns out that the trim pots here are like 20 turns or 10 turns or something like that. And to get it to set, you have to keep twisting it a lot, like counterclockwise a lot on this particular batch. I will link to these. I went back and I read their Amazon reviews, and someone mentioned that, and then, you know, it's like 4.4 stars across 2,000 reviews. So I'm like, there's no way I got the crappiest batch in the world. As you can see, we've got 10 volts coming in, 8.24. So the question is, if I run this down to 4.2 volts, you see that voltage coming down quickly here, which is pretty exciting. Question is, what will happen to it afterwards? And you can see the current over here dropping as well. So just note that. That's because we have less voltage across these two leads going into the same resistance. So that's why the current is dropping off. So that's to be expected. It takes a lot of turning to get this thing to go. But that's okay, it's a good problem to have. All right, 4.23 volts there on the buck converter, 10 volts in. So let's go ahead and just crank the voltage up. Yeah, look at that, rock solid. Oh, just a teeny little bit out. I don't know what the top end spec for these are, so I won't go past about 20 volts. But we're right in that laptop power supply zone. So fantastic. So the next step, we will connect the output to these leads on the Lume Cube to be the load and let it run at full power and see how hot this gets. Right now, that chip right there, that's what I'm touching, is stone cold. Let's go ahead, take the load off. We'll connect it up to the Lume Cube. 20 volts in, 4.2 out, which means I can find an old laptop power supply probably. Look at that start up. Beautiful. I should probably put a current meter in between here and just see what's going on. All right, so I've got it hooked up. I've got 2 meters, as you can see. We've got this Klein Tools meter. It doesn't do current. It's a GFCI meter. So it does do voltage though, and I'll do a review on that because that's a really cool function of that meter. But I have to use this one for voltage, and I have to use the Fluke for the current because it does up to 10 amps of current. So we have the decline and the Fluke measuring the output of the buck converter into the input of the Lume Cube. And then over here we have a voltage and current that goes into the buck converter, the total power consumed for everything, including the buck converter. So if I multiply voltage times current going here, I'll get a wattage number. And then if I multiply voltage times current over here, I'll get how much power the Lume Cube is actually consuming in watts. And if I subtract the two, that's how much power is getting consumed at this buck converter. So that's a really important number to know because, you know, if it's, we got to see how hot this gets. And so if it's dissipating 10 watts, well, that thing's going to fry itself. Let's go ahead and turn the Lume Cube on. If you can see that. Let me pull that back a little bit, but if you can see that, it's on. And we are consuming maximum juice. So this is dropped to 3.93 volts. That's just because it's going through the buck converter. And we're drawing 1.8 amps or so. It's getting a little toasty there, but it's not crazy hot. But I don't know if I can run it everywhere. And on the right-hand side, 3.87 volts times 2 amps, 7.74 watts. So I'm going to write this on this side over here. So this one is 7.74 watts. That should be, side should remain consistent. So we're just going to write that down. And let's do a test at 12 volts. So let's go ahead and take my course voltage, drop that down to 12 volts. There we are, 12 volts. So 12 times 0.979, 11.74. The difference here is going to be 11.74 minus 7.74 watts. This is what the buck converter is dissipating, and that's 4 watts of power. So, what does that mean to me? So this thing has to dissipate 4 watts of heat, and the question is, can it do that? Getting to the point where it's a little too hot to touch. That is really hot. Yep, I can keep my finger on it right now, but I do not think this is viable without a heatsink. It is now too hot to actually hold your finger on that IC. So if I put this in a little package and make it nice, a little 3D printed box or something, it's just going to get too hot. So I got to go back and think about this. I don't want to put 5 volts directly into the Lume Cube because it was on a battery that was a 3.8 volt battery, but we know as you charge these, they can go up to about 4.2 volts, 4.3 volts. So I don't want to put I don't want to go to 5 volts. That would be the really nice thing to do. But I don't know how to get a voltage drop across there that's enough to make it safe, so I don't fry the Lume Cube. Because the goal is to be able to use this, turn it on and just leave it on full time. That was hugely useful. So I'm going to turn the power off, head in. We're going to ponder what we want to do. This thing gets hot to the touch, so I don't want to run it off this buck converter just like this, and I don't want to run it off this Lume Cube off 5 volts directly, because I think that's also a problem. So let me ponder this for a little bit. We'll do the math, figure out what people are doing, look it up online and see what people are doing to keep these buck converters cool. If I can cool it somehow, that will be fantastic.